the degree of which you suffer on earth is directly correlated and directly corresponding to the degree of your incompetence. You have to understand that on earth, all suffering is self-inflicted. So when you have anxiety, when you're nervous, when you're not competent enough to have confidence in yourself, you are, to certain degrees, inflicting your own suffering. You have to understand that on earth, you just gotta go with the flow. A lot of people give a fuck, but when you stop giving a fuck, you'll see how easy life gets. Everyone's stressing, everyone's getting high off their own alchemical brain sequencing to feel something because they don't have enough meaning in their life or purpose to actually go do some shit and have a better one. So once we comprehend the validity and velocity that carries within the mind, and people are walking around as burdens, we can understand why they act like primates. But you have to understand that if you just dedicate yourself to not giving a fuck and just being your best self, you'll naturally not stress. You'll have people worry about the dumbest shit. Like, if you can't just express yourself the way you want to express yourself in front of people, there's an obvious problem with your mind. There's a problem with your soul. There's a problem with you. If you can't be yourself in a crowd of people, if you can't walk up to the girl you want to walk up to, if you can't just be yourself to the fullest, then there's a problem, and the problem is you. Like, everyone gives a fuck, but you just gotta not give a fuck. And when you don't give a fuck, you actually start to grow, you start to develop yourself, you actually start to discover dormant potentialities within yourself that you could not discover if you were compromising yourself for other people, for giving a fuck about shit you shouldn't give a fuck about. Everyone's going to die. So, like, you might as well live a life that you actually want to live, because everyone's, like, conforming to society. Everyone's pretending to be someone they're not. Everyone's wearing a mask and hiding who they are. But who they truly are is who they are when they are in the room with no one in the room with them, and it's nighttime, and they're scrolling, and they're feeding those negative habits, and they're wrecking and destroying their own mind, filling it with imagery that possess them to act abnormally. So now they have to be crude, and they have to display and rendition a mask when in the eyes or perception or awareness of being of another individual. So we have to understand the velocity that carries, and we have to move very intelligent within society, because they'll smile in your face, they'll open the door for you, but they won't even open the door for themselves, if you can get what I'm trying to say. The biggest blockage is the move you don't want to make. So your life is like a river, and the river of the water is the life that God is flowing into you. And the more resentment, the more you block the flow of that river into your life. The more fear, the more shame, the more apathy, the more guilt, the more anger, frustration, anxiety, being miserable. All these things are building up a giant fucking blockage in the river of life. And then we look at certain humans, certain individuals that, are displaying a very low quality version of themselves, and we have to look at their river, and then we have to kind of deduct them to see if they're actually flowing or if they're dried up, like some shit in Africa. So you gotta really assess, and you need to be a deductive thinker, not a reductive, because you're reducing yourself every time you feed your inadequacy, which is that one habit you shouldn't be inadvertently channeling your energy into. Where focus goes, where attention goes, energy flows. So you need to be focusing your attention on stuff that's actually going to bring and give and provide into your life. People love putting their attention, their attention, so the tension of their mind, into things that do nothing but reduce them. Reductive thinking, the average human, by the way. There's a study that says that the human thinks 90% negative most of the time. It's like, not like, that shit's weird. Like, y'all are abnormal. That's abnormal. Like, if you're not in a constant state of peace, forgiveness, love, and just a big fucking wall of not giving a fuck about other people and what they think, because they are really just low quality, unintelligent, and incompetent individuals that can't even create a job for themselves. You have to understand that life is self-development. Like, get on the development program and develop your mind, develop your physique, develop your intellectual capabilities to allocate yourself to a better life. A lot of people don't even live a life they want to live. Now, to be an individual like that is to be a waste of space on earth. You have to understand that you exist within the awareness of God. So the I am that everyone uses to exist and protrude outwardly and express themselves, that is the awareness you're existing in. And if you are not tapped in, if you are not one with your Father, if you are not tapped into I am one with the universe, then you are literally you are an outsider within the inside. So like, just get on the development program. We've got libraries, we've got people getting shredded as fuck, we've got people growing in every metric of fucking existence. So you should comprehend the velocity of your life and understand you only live once and you have a finite amount of time on earth. So you should probably develop yourself in the image of the higher self and guarantee success within your life by being patient, not giving a fuck, and mastering yourself. That's all there is to it. People complicate themselves because their mind is so many perplexities in the individual's mind that their life turns into a bout of complexity. When it's not even complex, it's like a fucking knot. All you have to do is pull a string and everything is solved, but they're so fucking inadequate and unaware to the fact they can pull the string. Every time you stress about some shit, just know you're failing yourself, and then there's a version of yourself that is not stressing. So now you have to understand that you have a version of yourself who's not suffering like you are right now. And the reason you are suffering is because you're not being that individual by being your best self and actually solving your fucking problems. That's the only reason you have a human mind, is to actually solve your problems. Like, that's how the human mind evolved, by the way, by deductive thinking and being able to assess, right? So, yeah. Join the Patreon community. Daily just information to inform you, to reform your mind's infernometry, to level up in life and actually develop yourself to create a life you actually want to live and be the individual you want to become. Because I'm telling you, you weren't put on the planet to suffer because of your own limitations and inadequacies. So join the community. The community is growing. If you're not in the community, you're not growing. Or, I mean, you might be growing, but you could 2x it, 3x it, 5x it, 10x it, depending on the state of your mind and the motion of your being. So go ahead, join the Patreon community. Send me an Instagram DM personally, and we could talk about the programs if you want to get fit, or if you want to develop your mind and become a superior conductor within your life and master every realm of your thinking in existence. So, yeah. A lot to learn, a lot to express, a lot to be and become in life, and being a bitch ain't one of them. Peace.